Good evening and welcome to Town of Port Royal's public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is ordinance 20-21-26, an ordinance to further amend that certain development agreement dated February 14, 2013, as amended on August 9, 2017, governing the redevelopment of Port Royal. This tract is commonly known as the Port of Port Royal Tract, including conceptual master plan of development containing approximately 317 acres located on the Battery Creek in the town of Port Royal, and depicted in the plat entitled Plat 51.60 acres, Highland, the South Carolina Ports Authority, Port Royal Terminal, prepared by Thomas and Hutton Engineering Company, dated December 20th, 2006, and recorded in Plat Book 0122 at page 0032 and 0035 on October 17, 2007, in the Office of Beaufort County Register and Deed Development Use, including residential, commercial, marina, and civic open space, and matters thereto. We're going to do a quick overview again of where we are. No?
I'm not prepared to do that.
Okay.
I mean, if Noah can do it, or if David here is the applicant can do it, that's fine.
I'm also prepared to.
Yep. Okay.
David.
Applicant?
Yes. You don't have the red line, do you?
David Tedder, representing the applicants on this. Since last week, there have been very minor changes to the development agreement, most of them grammatical changes to fix a reference error, Rebo Village versus Rebo Neighborhood, clarifying where the quitclaim deed for the area that lies to the water side of the old railroad tracks is concerned. That's really the only changes that were made. But for the purposes of the public hearing, what this development agreement basically does, amendment, is extend the term out because it would have expired prior to being able to get everything done, provides for financial security and definitive investments in the aesthetic improvement of the dry stack, provides other provisions for a potential swap of land for the park at London Avenue end next to the dry stack for the other land over the marsh side on the northern side of Sands, and opens up the PUD so that things can be amended in the PUD. Those are really the high points of the development agreement. There weren't a lot of really substantive changes in there. There was an acknowledgement that things have occurred since the last time with agreements with the town over the fuel facility down by the docks. It's an acknowledgement we've delivered the deed to the shrimp dock area that y'all have now been able to get money to assist in the redevelopment of that area. And from my memory, without the red line in front of me back, that I think is really the high points of that is dealing with the dry stack, the future park swap, and working down here at the seafood Marina Village area for future opportunities.
The only other one, David, I'd like you to clarify, because we did not talk about it last week in the public hearing, is the agreement on the seafood facility and the dollar value associated with that.
Sure.
What happens in that, because I think that's important that the citizens know about what's going on there.
Historically, there was money that was received, and there was a spot reserved up at the seafood village to replace the seafood facility that was burned down some 9 years ago, whatever it was. And in the amendment of the development agreement, there was an agreement to try and rebuild the seafood facility or come to an agreement on the value of the land if there wasn't going to be a seafood facility down there. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the town has been working with Chris Butler and now with Safe Harbor on a new potential plan to work down there. So this development agreement now provides a definitive sum. Under the old agreement, if we didn't reach an agreement on where to put the seafood facility, there were 1,667 square feet, 1,700 square feet of area that was to be purchased. The old development agreement called for it to be paid for at the value of what Grey Ghost paid for it when they bought it. The new agreement has put a sum certain in there that increases the value and provides a little bit more than the fair market value so that there's an incentive to work with the town. That new value is $150,000 for 1,700 square feet.
And the determination date is December 31, 2020.
22, yes. So
So it
there's a
brings
definitive
everything-
goal to us to work towards and getting there.
Very good.
And I have Lawrence on speakerphone if you have any questions for him.
I think we'll do that, we'll ask Lawrence questions during the council meeting rather than the public hearing. I just wanted to get those changes out to the public, and now I don't have anybody specifically that asked to speak at the public hearing, but I will call for anybody who would like to talk. Once, twice, none? Then I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. And now we are going to open up our regular council meeting. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our July 14th
I'll call you
regular
back if that's
council
all right.
meeting. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Can everybody please stand, face the flag? That works. Kevin, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Darrell, can you lead us in prayer?
Father God, we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for this day, for we're rejoicing in it. We thank you for your arms of protection that protected each of us during the recent storms and tornadoes. We thank you for protecting each family. We thank you for the business that will be conducted on tonight, that will be done pleasing in your sight. And Lord, we also ask that you will surround the Ashmore, Jerry and his family during their times of challenges. And we pray for strengthening his family and giving him strength through this ordeal. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. First item of business is we have approval of minutes. We have 5 sets of minutes from our special meeting of June 2nd, our public hearing of June 2nd, our council workshop of June 2nd, our regular council meeting of June 9th, and our special meeting of June 15th. All the meeting minutes was in our packets. What's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from the special meeting of June 2nd, 2021, minutes from the public hearing of June 2nd, 2021, minutes from the council workshop of June 2nd, 2021, minutes from the regular council meeting June 9th, 2021, and minutes from the special meeting of June 15th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any deletions, corrections, or changes?
None noted.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It was unanimous. Our next item of business is we have a proclamation. I will read this in, and then I will ask somebody to come forward. And ready? So here we are. The Town of Port Royal, the Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week, celebrating the Gullah Geechee Nation land and living legacy. Whereas the Africans began arriving on the Sea Islands in the 1500s, and whereas the population of the Africans increased and enslavements grew in the 1600s, and whereas the Africans began to engage with, in some instances, create families and indigenous Americans in the region, and whereas the descendants of this group are called the Gullah Geechee, and whereas this group is a self-sufficient people came together in 1999 throughout the Sea Islands and the low country of the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, and stand on their human rights and self-determination. And whereas this group took 1 year to elect their own leader, and whereas the elected installed St. Helena Island native, whose family roots are also stemmed within Palawan Island and Data Island, Queen Queet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and whereas Queen Queet has served as the official head dependee and spokesperson for the Gullah Geechee Nation since July 2nd, 2000, and whereas the theme of this year's celebration is celebrating the Gullah Geechee land, living, and whereas we support the continuation of the Gullah Geechee culture, heritage, and sustainability of the Gullah Geechee Nation, I, Mayor Joe DeVito of the Town of Port Royal, do hereby proclaim July 31st through August 7th, Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Weekend, and call upon all our citizens to celebrate with the citizens of the Gullah Geechee Nation under the theme Celebrating the Gullah Geechee Land, Living, and Legacy. Please come forward, Chiefess. Thank you. Pronouncement was good? Did it work? Thank you. Yes,
absolutely.
please.
Please.
Good evening. How Hunter children are doing, y'all?
Good.
They do good. I know Brother Darrell Hunter know why they crack my teeth and see anything like that. He tried for London Mayor before he's been start any. So I'm so glad for there one more again in Port Royal and thing like that. And praise God that the city still standing after I saw some of the reports about the storm. So we've been praying for you that you heal fast. And so we're so glad that this year, Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week will launch right across the water. Y'all can boat over, swim over, come over to St. Helena Island, July 31st at noon at the Martin Luther King Park. I know you know where that is. We are going to launch Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week with Gullah Geechee Family Day this year. So I hope everybody here in Port Royal will come over and celebrate with us. And also I just left one of the posters with the mayor as well, because the following Friday we'll be in Beaufort at the Legacy Gallery, and we will be bringing to life the artwork of Lisa Gilliard Rivers. We go crack we teeth and things like that. Except the pretty picture up on the wall can't crack your teeth like this show. All right? And so we're going to have a big celebration, and we're going to start right here in my home county, and I'm so happy that we can all get back together now, and praying that we all continue to heal, be blessed, and be safe. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support.
Can we make sure we get those dates added to our newsletter? So the next is a presentation on the cybersecurity of the Low Country, Colonel Warren Parker. Colonel, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Mayor, council members, and citizens, it's really a pleasure to be here tonight, and this has become my my life, the South Coast Cyber Center. But it's a pleasure to be here this evening to tell you about this exciting project here in our region. It's something we're quite proud of, and I think can represent a huge leap forward for our region. The South Coast Cyber Center was established about 19 months ago as a collaboration of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, the Technical College of the Low Country, the Beaufort Digital Corridor, and the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation. Its purpose is really twofold. One is to establish centers of academic excellence at the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, and at TCL in cybersecurity. And the other is to develop this region as a cyber hub for business, education, and research. Before I go further, I'd like to thank, back in March, we had an opportunity to do a tabletop exercise down at the Beaufort Police Department. Port Royal participated with their, with Van Willis and the chief of police. I think had a great day down there. We learned a lot. We learned what our vulnerabilities are. We learned a lot about kind of the assets to go to if somebody's attacked. You're going to be attacked whether you like it or not. The thing is, how do you protect yourself, and who do you go to in the event of an attack? Next slide. The hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil security approach to cybersecurity is probably not going to work in the future. Those days are long gone. Next slide. But what is the threat? Here's what former Senator Dan Coates has laid out as the threat. It's both a strategic challenge from our adversaries mixed with organized crime, and organized crime sanctioned by adversary state actors. So it's a mix of people and threats and countries who all are set on attacking our political, economic, and military assets. All of us are aware of the recent ransomware attacks, pipelines, school systems, insurance companies are examples. It's a broad range of a threat for all of Americans. I've said you're vulnerable to a cyber attack if you have a car, if you have electricity in your house, if you use the sewer system, and if you have a bank account. If you do any of those things, you're vulnerable to a cyber attack. So, what's our opportunity here in Beaufort? There's a talent crunch in cybersecurity. And with any challenge comes the opportunity to meet that challenge. And given the talent crunches, where there's a large gap between skills and what employers need, the role of education plays a huge part in what we're trying to do. Professor Von Nessen, Joy Von Nessen from the University of South Carolina, did a study for the Chamber of Commerce that was published back in April of 2021, in which he stated that the opportunities for growth in the Beaufort region, expanding sectors that employ high-wage, high-skilled workers, include growing the local presence of cybersecurity. We think there's a huge opportunity here in this region for a cybersecurity ecosystem to develop. Next slide. One of the things that we're really proud of is our advisory board. We are a broad representation of business, cybersecurity professionals, local government, academia, and the military. And we're proud to have Councilman Phillips. Kevin Phillips is a key member of our board, and he's been a real asset for us representing the town of Port Royal. The next slide gives you an idea of who the rest are. And as I said, there's a group of cybersecurity professionals mixed in there. Rick Siebenaller, who ran cybersecurity for Deloitte here until the last few months when he retired. John LaCour, founder of Fish Labs, a cybersecurity company over in Charleston, a really pretty neat organization. Next slide. Here's our vision. We believe that we have unique advantages for agility and collaboration, and you'll hear those words come up as we move forward. Over the last year and a half, we've had the ability to move quickly, to take advantage of opportunities as we seek new partners across the state and the nation. Our partners extend from here up to Washington, out to Colorado, down to Texas, Florida, and California. People who've been of immense help to us as we've gone along this journey for the last year and a half. Why Beaufort? I think you could boil it down to these factors, but quality of life, a local talent pool, the military presence. We've got a four-year college, a technical college. Our proximity to Fort Gordon and the Georgia Cyber Center in Augusta is only 2.5 hours away. Navy Information Warfare Command and those assets are about an hour and a half away. We're on the verge of signing an educational partnership with the Navy Information Warfare Command in Charleston, which I hope will pay some dividends for us. In addition to that, it's Lockheed Martin, Gulfstream. There are a number of assets within the arc, and we think sitting in the middle of that arc gives us certain advantages. You can read this as well as I can. The goal for the university and for the technical college, the centerpiece and the key goal is establishing the Center of Academic Excellence designation by the summer of 2024. That designation is awarded by the National Security Agency and the Department of Homeland Security to those schools who meet certain academic requirements at their university or technical college. There are 7 in the state of South Carolina right now, and we plan to add to that. Excellent. The digital corridor, the key here is the ability to work with startups, recruit talent, recruit people and companies who want to come to this area in conjunction with the Economic Development Corporation, John O'Toole and his hard work. They're already beginning to turn over people and look at assets that could come in this direction. Venture capital as well is going to be an asset that we need for people to invest in Beaufort County. Where are we now? Well, we've assembled, as I said, an exceptional board. We've been endorsed by the Beaufort City Council, the Military Enhancement Committee, County Council, USC Beaufort and TCL have begun the academic excellence process. We've developed a working relationship with NIWC Atlantic, the Navy Information Warfare Command. Lockheed Martin, Nick Messenberg is on our board. We're going to begin classes at the university this fall of 2021. And we've begun the process to work closely with the school district to develop a cybersecurity program to increase awareness and increase that talent stream into the university and TCL through the Beaufort County school system. Collaboration and agility are again at the forefront of our abilities to move quickly. One of the things that we've been able to do by moving quickly on this opportunity was the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation from the Department of Defense. It used to be the Office of Economic Advancement in OEA. Some of you are familiar with OEA grants in the past. They changed names in midstream and it becomes much more difficult to pronounce, and it doesn't make for a very good acronym. But what that's going to allow us to do, as a result of a lot of hard work by USCB and TCL and the Digital Corridor and Economic Development Corporation and our board members, it's going to allow us to do all of the things that are listed here. Key among them, I think, that sits at the center is the development of a strategic plan. We're going to devote a lot of effort, a lot of our resources, and a lot of our time to getting the plan right over the next, through December, January of this year and 2022, of getting that plan right. And I'd hope to come back and be able to brief you on that plan when it's in force. We also received $450,000 from the state legislature here recently for the South Coast Cyber Center, and that will be distributed among the partners and hopefully will further enhance our ability to bring some of these benefits to our region. Here's our goal. Right here, represented in this slide, ultimately an educated cybersecurity workforce. These little guys here were at the Digital Corridor pre-COVID in a coding camp, but we can educate a cybersecurity workforce here in this region and pair that with a dynamic educational and business environment and create the opportunities right here in this area in cybersecurity. And there's no chicken and egg here. It is an ecosystem where it all works together at one time to create those opportunities. I think it's an exciting prospect and opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. we look forward to working with you and Port Royal and the council, and would certainly welcome any endorsement that might come down the line from the council for us. I know Kevin has some paperwork at home somewhere that he saved for you for later on. Any questions?
Council, Kevin, as a board member, you got any questions? Or something else you want to add?
No questions. I mean, I asked the Colonel to come in and just kind of update everybody on the South Coast Cybersecurity Center. Every now and then you see it pop up in the paper, and I just want everybody to be aware of it. A lot of progress has been made. It's been up and running for just a little over a year and a half now. Colonel's work on it has been outstanding. You see the money that's been raised, and really I think it's just an important tool for the future, not just for the educational piece, but ultimately, as he stated, was, we do have the installations here, the Department of Defense installations here, and partnerships with those, and ultimately we would like to have a hub here. We're actually creating, high-paying jobs where people can educate here, stay here, live here, raise families here, and that is the goal, and these jobs are of the future. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to the Colonel. I wanted him to come in and kind of update everybody, make everybody aware, so when you see it in the paper, the South Coast Cybersecurity Center, that's what it's all about, so.
Earl, I've heard your presentation a number of times. It gets better. There's more information each time. Your group is doing an amazing job. We're glad we have a representative on that, and I think we'll get that endorsement kind of passed down through these ranks and get you that endorsement from us as well.
We appreciate it.
Okay. Everybody good? Thanks again, Colonel. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Colonel.
Okay, our next item of business on our agenda is second readings.
There must have been a typo. The council briefing was deleted.
I just was realizing
Yeah,
that.
and I just we've covered it thoroughly, but typically during that time frame, we have an opportunity for some of our chairs to come up and address, or board members. We have Greg Shelton here this evening with Beaufort Economic Development Corporation. I don't know if you've got anything you want to discuss.
Well, let's hold on a minute so that we can do this legally. Can somebody give me a motion to break from the agenda?
So moved.
Can we get a second? Moved, and we're going to add council briefing, and go ahead.
Legally, you cannot do that. You can't add an item to the agenda. But we can't have an informal discussion about these
Okay.
because they're not getting any activities.
I can't add, that's right, I can
Right.
change the agenda, but we can't add an item.
Right.
You are correct.
Withdraw.
Yeah.
Withdraw.
So they're here.
Thank you, you're right, you can't add. 24-hour notice got me on that one.
Thank
Gotta
you,
have a
legislature.
24-hour notice.
But I figured we had these guys here, and it was just an oversight. It should have been on the agenda.
I was just looking
Yeah.
for it, I was gonna ask, because I was hoping we were gonna get a briefing on the storm,
Right.
so,
Greg, you got anything you want to talk about with the Economic Development Corporation?
come on up. Informal discussion,
Yeah.
not an agenda item.
Informally, we've been meeting pretty extensively over a couple of things. One is the county budget as it pertains to economic development. The income line this year looks very healthy. It's approaching $1 million. We've got a number of grants that have come in. There's a new company coming in. I think we refer to it as Project Legacy. 64,000 square feet. It's going to be positioned in the Beaufort Commerce Park. And we have another one that we're looking at right now that John has already contacted, and that's a company up in Maryland that is also looking for a 64,000 square foot facility to come in. We have a firearms company that is interested in some of the things that we're doing. We've looked at both the vision and mission statement of the Beaufort Economic Development Corporation. That has been rewritten. I guess it'll be published soon. I am meeting tomorrow with Van and Mayor DeVito, and John's going to join us just as an update overall on some of the things that we're working on. But it's been pretty active, I would say, for the last 3 or 4 months. Now I know what you were going through. But a lot of good stuff coming on. I think we have 5 or 6 pending projects right now for Beaufort County. And one of the things that we would like to discuss tomorrow is what we would like to see here in Port Royal. Okay? That's it. Short version. Informal.
There you go. Thank
Formal
you.
questions? No. Do we have any other chairs?
Mr. Hazel's back there for Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recs, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. We had our first in-person meeting last night, and it went well. My third meeting overall. So parks are looking good. We just we realized that we had been missing the Parker Park out there off of Casablanca. I went out there and took a look at that today. There is a tree branch that is like growing on top of it and pushing the batter's cage that's back there that used to be a baseball field. It's pushing one of the panels down, so we'll have to look to get that replaced or fixed or removed, depending on the pleasure of the county or the community. Since taking over, Lynn has, since I've come on and taken over, Lynn has come up with a fast-track way to get Van all the maintenance issues. Vice in the past, where we would have our meetings, we'd talk about it, then we'd have to wait until the next month to approve the minutes, and then he would get it. Now we just have a separate maintenance list that we pass on to Van the very next day. And she's actually taken it a step further. As of yesterday, we're going to have makeshift diagrams so that we're not giving latitude and longitude to the Public Works Department to try and find all these issues. So I will be asking for a new member. One of our members is unable to make the meetings lately due to conflicts with work, so I will be asking for a new member.
Council, any questions? Thanks so much. Thanks for getting involved, and you jumped right in, didn't you?
Yeah, baptized in the fire.
Absolutely.
Only way to do it.
And then if we want to talk about the storm real quickly.
Yeah, we really like an update on the storm.
Yeah, obviously, we had an event around midnight Thursday morning, if you will, and I think both the fire department and police department were active from that point forward, responding to calls, trees down. Obviously, Public Works became engaged the next day, started moving things. Southern Palmetto, who we have a contract with to address storms of that level, was on site as well, started their work. We also started the initial damage assessment. Brooke, Noah, Mike, the City of Beaufort all participated. Tracy hit the ground running, hit every single street trying to do initial damage assessments. I think at that point we came to about 44 structures that were damaged because of the tornado. There was some question as to whether there was a tornado or not. I think most of the people here knew that it was a tornado, but needed to be verified by the National Weather Service. I think Chris had some pretty significant damage as well. As you can see, Public Works is now with the contractors and some tree folks starting to push debris around. Thanks you to Grey Ghost for allowing us to stage it on a piece of their property. You'll see a lot of containers, a lot of boom trucks, knuckle booms, moving about for probably the next month or so. We are starting to get calls from people asking when their debris is going to be picked up. We'll get to you. There's a lot that is being dealt with. We're getting three trees removed out of Live Oak Park tomorrow. Obviously, they're very dangerous. A couple of them are on top of the shelter structure there. So it's going to take some time. There hasn't been an official declaration made. There's certain thresholds that have to be crossed in terms of dollar amounts or uninsured damages, and I think we're getting there. As a county, I think that they realize there's some damage that was on Defusky Island as well, some scattered damage other places, but obviously most of the significant damage was pretty much in downtown Port Royal. Luckily, no deaths, no injuries, although I see a lot of people out with chainsaws, so we hope we keep it that way. A lot of amateur operators, but we're good. But we will continue to work, continue to clean up. I'm very proud of the way everybody in town kind of rallied and started cleaning up, not just staff, but citizens helping each other. I think everything is really starting to square away. So.
We also need to commend our utilities, the
Absolutely.
Beaufort Jasper, Dominion Energy, and Charters contractor, the cable guys contractors. When Dominion first came down here, I met with them early that morning, and they looked at that problem. The gentleman who was in charge of the repair came up to me, and he said, it's going to be more than 24 hours. It's going to be morning. We're bringing in more trucks. We got to bring in more people. Ended up 2 a.m. So they got the power back up rather quickly. I thought they did a great job, and so did the other guys. I saw the water authority out there making sure, running generators, keeping the pump stations running so that nothing entered the marsh. So everybody did a really, like you said, a yeoman's job, and our citizens helping each other out is just amazing. Can't thank police and fire enough. I mean, I don't know how many times going door to door in the dark at night. Anytime that they saw a tree laying on a house, they went door to door and made sure the people in that home were okay and helped those people out. We just can't thank them enough for what that they did the whole time.
Yeah, and I also want to thank City of Beaufort. Their inspection department was here right from the get-go. Bill Prokop reached out almost immediately, offering any assistance they could.
Same thing, Stephen.
As a matter of fact, they are sending public works staff. We're coordinating with them now to assist with some cleanup.
Very good. Mayor Murray from the city called me early the next morning. What do you need? What do we need for help? So I want to thank him as well for being there and helping us out. So.
Sumter Utilities was here. They're the ones
Yeah,
that
the
power.
Dominion's contractor was Sumter Utilities, which is a
Sumter
private company.
Utilities was here.
Those guys were,
Johnny on the spot.
yeah, those guys were amazing how quickly they rebuilt what was on the ground. I mean, it was just hard to believe, and it's one of those little things that just stick in my mind that I remember. It was late Thursday night. I was back down here Thursday night, and Dominion Energy trucks came back in, and I walked over to thank the gentleman. And the crew that was here was their environmental cleanup crew. Did not even know that they had one that they would bring into our little town. So one of those transformers that hit the ground had cracked open, and the oil came out of it. And they sent a separate crew responsible to clean it up so it didn't make it into our waterways. That's some of those little things that go on when these things happen that none of us even know about. And they did it. They had to move all the trees, get them out of the way so that they could get to it. They picked up anything that was affected with the oil and brought it out of here. So I thought that's another piece that's just, you don't know about all these things that go on that happen to make this happen. So thanks for the update, man.
Absolutely.
Anything else on this informal conversation?
No, that's good.
We're done with the informal. We'll get back to the formal.
Correct.
Very good. So we have second reading, ordinance 20-21-25, an ordinance to further amend the planned unit development enacted by ordinance 2011-17 for the certain 317 acres, more or less, being in the town of Fort Royal, South Carolina, generally lying along the Battery Creek and depicted in the plat entitled Plat of 160 acres of the Highlands of South Carolina State Port Authority, Port Royal Terminal, prepared by Thomas and Hutton Engineering Company, dated December 20th, 2006, and recorded in Plat Book 0122 on page 0032 and 0035 on October 17, 2007, in the Office of Beaufort County Register of Deeds, such as a planned unit development and subsequent amendments by ordinance 2017-20 and other matters thereto. You will get tired of hearing that statement tonight. So, any,
And I do have Lawrence on.
Lawrence is on the phone, so now's the time to talk to Lawrence about the PUD. The development agreement will be next.
There's just like 4 or 5 changes since the workshop last week, was that me? That I'd like to make you all aware of. The first, in section 3.4.A, which is the overall redevelopment plan. Originally, there was a provision which requires all of the PUD zoning districts not to exceed 85%, not for one residential building type to exceed 85% of the district. That was with the exception of the Bluff neighborhood. Or I'm sorry, with the exception of Rebo Village. We revisited that, weren't really quite sure why Rebo Village was given an exception, so we removed Rebo Village from that exception, but we did give the exception to Bluff neighborhood because of the permitting process that it has already gone through. Secondly, in that same section, in the civic open space subsection, the potential London Avenue Park swap, the terms of that swap in the PUD were clarified to make clear that if the swap were to occur, that there might be a reduction or increase of acreage to make sure that the swapped property and the park property conform in acreage. There was just a small scrivener's error with a name of one of the zoning districts that was changed or labeled incorrectly. The other major things that were added, the tree ordinance, the current tree ordinance was called out specifically in a new section, and it is similar in that the Bluff neighborhood is given an exception there because of its standing currently as a permitted subdivision. And then finally, we added a definition for dry stack facility. And I will read that to you in full so that it can be on the record that everybody heard it. If I can find it. There it is. Dry stack facility, a facility for storing boats out of water. This is principally a land operation where boats are dry stored or stacked until such time as they are transferred to the water for use. And those are all the changes that we've made.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions from Noah?
No questions.
Council? Everybody's good?
Just for clarification, that definition is in the current Beaufort County Code as well as the DOI Island Code. We didn't just create that.
Yeah. I think I took it directly from KEOL because I couldn't find it in the county code, which is ironic, but.
You of all people couldn't find it in the Beaufort County Code. Right, I'm going to open it up to public comment, but I don't have anybody that specifically wants to talk about the PUD. I have two for public comment. Jesse, did you want the PUD? That's okay. Jesse White, come on up. Judith, for you, public comment or this? Okay.
I apologize. After standing there and evaluating my options, I still filled out the wrong card, so.
We're all getting back to used to it. What color?
Yes. Well, thank you. My name is Jessie White. I'm the South Coast Office Director for the Coastal Conservation League and appreciate the opportunity to offer these comments this evening. Overall, as we've indicated in previous comments, we are generally supportive of the port redevelopment project, and we're pleased by many of the changes that have already been negotiated to clarify the terms and strengthen the commitments entailed in the agreement, including prioritizing the TIF monies for open space. We do continue to maintain, however, that the entire property subject to the PUD should be subject to the tree ordinance and the river buffer requirements. While we understand the reasonings for exempting the bluff because of an existing development permit, we continue to believe that the community benefits as a whole from enforcing the tree protections and that we shouldn't be carving out exceptions. The truth is that trees are the lungs of our planet and we actually need them to survive here. And in addition to that very basic truth, they provide a ton of really important community benefits. They naturally manage stormwater by removing sediments and erosion and pollutants from our runoff. They improve human health and quality of life by filtering our air and removing things like carbon dioxide from the air. They also counteract the heat island effect of development in impervious surfaces and naturally lower temperatures. They also naturally reduce noise pollution and just so happen to increase property values because people like and demand to live around mature trees. So for all of these reasons, we continue to advocate that the entire neighborhood should be, the entire port redevelopment project should be subject to the tree ordinance. And in particular, from our evaluation, the bluff has some of the most significant existing stands of trees in downtown Port Royal. And so I think it's incredibly important for that area in particular to be subject to these requirements. And it's also a great place for development. We're supportive of the development there. We just want to see the tree protections enforced. And the other concern we have has to do with the open space requirements. We are appreciative that the agreement language itself maintains relatively the same open space requirements, subject to the change that Noah just talked about aligning the actual acreage in terms of a swap. However, we feel it's imperative that the open space be designated on the corresponding map. The draft that was included with these agreement updates shows a PV6, which is development potential on the open space requirement around Sands Beach, and we advocate that it needs to be designated on the map itself as open space. So with that, I will conclude my comments, and thank you very much for your time.
Van, do you have a copy of the email we received from Wendy Czar?
I think I did, yeah.
Can you read that into the record? If not, I can give it to you. All of council should have received that one as well. And she asked for it to be read in the record.
Yes, here we go.
Okay.
Dear Mayor and Council, please vote to make all the port property, including the bluffs, subject to Chapter 20 of the Port Royal Code, the tree ordinance. I understand that the bluff area has been platted. That is no reason to exclude it from the tree ordinance. Already, most of the trees have been cleared. There's nothing to prevent the rest of it from being clear cut. Any monetary penalty that may apply is insignificant. It was capped at $4,000 under the old ordinance. Not only are trees a critical part of the old village identity, they also mitigate flooding and runoff. They keep the area cooler in the summer and are critical for wildlife habitat. The bluff must be protected by Chapter 20, the tree ordinance. Thank you, Wendy Czar.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public comment section of this ordinance, and what's the pleasure of council?
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-25.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second to adopt ordinance 20-21-25. Any further comment?
A question.
Yep.
Being that the Bluff neighborhood is currently under permit, can we, as a council, enact that or compel them to be a part of this agreement as well?
Mark? The permit already exists.
Right.
And it's been through design review. The way it was explained to me is the permit already exists. Van, if you want to try to cover
With
this.
them going under a potential transfer of ownership, is it?
The permit's part of the property, not the owner.
Okay.
The way I understand
Can we
it.
legally, that's what
That's
I'm
what I
asking.
understood today.
The way I understand it, it's the permits with the property. If you sell the property mid-construction, all existing permits move with it.
Okay.
I think what we can do, the way I understand it, is if they were to come with a redesign, then that opens the door for us to say something else.
Should they come with a redesign?
With a redesign, but the existing is already permitted, is the problem.
And that's what I
that we-
wanted clarification on.
Yep, yep.
I just wanted clarification.
And I think, yeah, and I think a clarification on, I'll ask for clarification on it. It looks like the new Exhibit K shows both civic open space and/or PV according to what we end up, whether it's property swap or not. Because the one the other day showed only PV6. Now I see, barely can read it.
Okay.
Civic open space and/or? What do you have there, David?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I speak correctly off the right now.
It's at 2, but that don't,
You're talking about this area.
Correct.
The area to the north of Sands Beach Road was already zoned PV6. That is the area being contemplated for a swap to the town. The area below Sands Beach Road toward the water was civic open space under the old plan. That is the area that is being considered for the swap. If the swap occurs, the land will be properly zoned for the new developer. The town will then own the area to the north of Sands Road, and the town is not a developer, so it'll be free to rezone it on its own, change it into the green if that happens. This is avoiding a two-step approach to what we all presume and hope will be a successful negotiation of a land swap that'll end up with a better park. So this map change does not, at this point, authorize the town to develop up there. The only thing that we have the right to develop right now is north of the Sands Road. Right? And until the land swap occurs, we're not going to develop down there because we're trying to swap it with the town. So it's a practical solution as well as an explanation of why that is. I cannot recall the green area up there, the little tiny sliver up there. I can't find my old one. I don't know why that shows there.
That was a piece of civic open space?
Under the old one? I can't find my old one because I've got so many copies of this, but I just couldn't. Yeah, I see it over there now. That's the one I was looking for, that one. So yeah, that remains the same. Little green area. And if we do the park swap, that whole area, I presume, will be turned green at some point by action of the council or creation of the park.
Council, any other conversation, discussion?
I'll say a few words, just, because this issue's come up, and I just want the town to know that a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort has gone into the talks with the potential developers, hours and hours. And, you know, during those negotiations sometimes mean compromises. I think the town has done a really great job with this in the sense that the new tree ordinance is in the entire development except for the bluff. The issue with that was being that was decided earlier and has already been plotted and set for that. The issue that Mr. Tedder was just talking about, I think is a great thing for the town too. We're talking about swapping those properties to having the part of the Sands Beach would then at that point become green space and become a park all the way leading down into Sands Beach. So I think a lot of great concessions and improvements were made for the town. And also just want to assure the town that as buildings and things start to go vertical in this, developers will be coming before us for approval, and the environmental issues, I don't want to speak for the entire everyone on council, but those issues are at the forefront of our mind in every decision that we make. So we're going to keep those issues important. The environment here, the conservation. It's one of the things we all love about this area. We're going to take that very serious as this goes forward. So just I want y'all to know that that's from me. And again, I don't want to speak for everybody, but trust me, we think about these issues very often, and the environment here and its effect on us and the way it looks and the beauty. We don't want anything to happen to that and destroy that. So we will always be adamant with those issues. Just wanted y'all to know that.
I have to agree with Kevin on that. I mean, we think about it all the time, and it's important to have that civic open space. And one of the reasons that we even wanted to swap that is because we didn't want houses going all the way down on the left-hand side. We wanted to make sure that was open space and left so the people could enjoy that area. So when we look at this, we've spent a lot of time with the developers, without developers, and, a lot of effort's been put into it. It's all important to us. And like he said, the stormwater drainage, everything. I mean, we have considered all of it. They won't be building unless they come back to us if they have any questions or need any changes. And so at that point, that's when we can put our foot down and say no if it's not sound for the town. So just please be understanding that we are considering everybody's thoughts when we go through here, because we live here and we want to make sure what we do affects all of us.
Very good. Anybody else? Call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is a 3-2, the way I counted that.
Okay.
Next item of business is ordinance 20-21-26, an ordinance to further amend that certain development agreement dated February 14, 2013, as amended on August 9, 2017, governing the redevelopment of the Port of Port Royal, this tract commonly known as the Port of Port Royal tract, including the conceptual master plan of development and containing approximately 317 acres located on the Battery Creek in the town of Port Royal, and depicted as plat entitled Plat 5160 acres in Highland, the South Carolina Port Authority, Port Royal Terminal, prepared by Thomas and Hutton Engineering Company, dated December 20th, 2006, and recorded in Plat Book 0122 on pages 0032 and 0035 on October 17th, 2007, in the Office of Beaufort County Register of Deeds Development, uses including residential, commercial, marina, civic open space, and matters related thereto. David, are you updating us on any changes or They're the same things that you said during the public hearing, I know.
I don't know that. First of all, for those that can't be here tonight, the people that SH Holdings, George Bullwinkle, Representative Nicole Ewing, Robbie Freeman, those people that have sat down with you, they wanted me to pass on their thanks for the attention that you've paid for this. They appreciate all the considerations the town have done. And as Mr. Phillips said, they appreciate the compromises that were made and the concerns that were expressed to you, that y'all took great time and effort to understand what they were trying to do to make a project better. As far as the development agreement goes, let me reiterate the things that were most important to the town that we included in this, which was fixing the dry stack storage aesthetics, putting a really definite time limit on it, putting a specific time number on the amount of dollars that have to go into it, working on making certain that the park improvements, once they're decided where they are created in a timely manner. We worked on the Seafood Village area, on the Marina Village area, on coming up with a plan that would leverage what the town has with what the developer has to create, hopefully, a first-class commercial dock down there, and whatever y'all end up doing down in that particular area. The changes, many of them were cleanup items to recognize 3.5, 4 years have gone by, recognizing that we have made arrangements with the fuel facility exchange and providing a definitive amount of money if we don't come to an agreement to pay the town for its interest in the land down there. As I spoke earlier at the public hearing, I finally found my red line version, and through there, the ability to help us out. If you look back at the history of the port for the 20th century on forward, there was a lot of land swaps, properties moving around. The title work on this is daunting, and the town for decades has been working with Seaboard Coastline, CSX, the SPA, the Park Administration to clear it out. And we appreciate your willingness to look at, just saying this area over here, the town doesn't have any interest in it, to clear up the fact that some of these old plats aren't very good. But it's a minor point, but it's very important for someone like me that's trying to assist on writing title insurance so they can move forward with lenders down the line. And the town really isn't giving up anything. It's just if there was an error in a description, it takes care of that. It's not an unusual thing to end up doing quitclaim deeds. The other points that we have in here was just clarifying that there are more definitive time limits and more objective measures to be met moving forward. And that's, I think, was important to the town. It was also important to the developer because there's no reason for us to have ambiguities out there that could cause issues down the line as they try and develop it. Anyway, I'm happy to try and answer any questions. I know y'all know as much about this as me because y'all have sat in the same room with me and the others many, many hours looking at this.
And I do have Lawrence if you have any questions.
Right. I am not going to open this up to the public because we just had a public hearing on it.
But I would just make sure the one thing that we did add so the council's aware of it is the negotiated purchase price on the seafood facility in the event a determination as to the final seafood facility location cannot be made. And it's a much larger number than was previously negotiated in the 17 agreement.
Like I said, I'm not opening up to this public. We had a public hearing on this earlier this evening. There's no reason to open it up at this point in time. So what's the pleasure of council? We'll get it to a discussion point.
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-26.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. We're at discussion. I'd like to start, if that's okay. There's one of the items that I think is important that we talk about here because we talk so much about the civic open space. This document also lays out some funding for the civic open space, something we did not have in the last development agreement that I think is extremely important. We know that there's a TIF associated with this. We know that there are TIF dollars that are coming. We're late into that, but it's a 20-year TIF. Gives us an idea of what we might raise. but one of the things in the last development agreement, it didn't say who got the money first or where the money was used first. In this document now, it specifically says there's approximately $750,000. The first money goes directly to civic open space. Half of that money comes to the town. So as we determine which side of Sands Beach Road, we all know the swap's going to happen, but we hope that whatever happens, we will have now money that we can either borrow against or have at that point to start the process and get that park developed and get that civic open space done. The other half of that money goes to the developer to be used specifically in the Paris Avenue Park while they're developing that. They have more time to develop that park than we have allotted ourselves to develop the other one due to construction constraints. If you think about it, everything else that's going to be built around the terminal and around the port, you can't put a park in the middle of that and then bring all this large construction equipment in. So they'll build that as part of the rest, so that park may take up to 5 years. Our park is dictated that they've got to bring the property to us and by the end of 2022, and we can get started on that. So that park will happen much sooner, and we now have the dollars to do that. I think that's a very, very important. A lot of negotiation went through that. 3 lawyers in the room trying to figure out the best way to do that, and Lawrence, our attorney, came up with an idea that everybody agreed with, and I think it was wonderful because we, as council, wanted to secure dollars as well as civic open space so we can get those done. So I think that piece was important to highlight again, and what we all did that night to get us to that point. I'll open it up for any other comment.
Yeah, I'll just read it. Our attorney Lawrence, as Joe said, did a great job with that. The fact that it really, this new amendment, it's got some teeth to it that the last amendment did not have. Like he said, it lays out where funding is going to come from, when it has to be paid. It also puts an actual time frame on when roads have to be conveyed to the town, when open space has to be conveyed to the town, when the pedestrian promenade has to be conveyed to the town, when the shrimp docks have to be conveyed to the town. All these things that were in the last amendment just going to happen. There's now an actual time frame. There's actual, something we can hang our hats on. It's in the contract. Like I said, it really just adds some teeth and really tightened up some holes that were in that last amendment. So again, everybody put a lot of hard work into it, and I think it's good. So I think it like I said, really cleans up the last amendment and really gets things moving. So.
And we did make a change on the promenade deck, remember? So when they come down, instead of turning and going across the front of the cement building, we'll be going behind the cement building due to any traffic and all on the water side. But from like Fish Camp all the way down will be on the water side, and then come around the back of the building, brick building, and then hook back into the boardwalk.
And it specifically states in this development agreement that the promenade is constructed by the developer.
That's correct.
So we know that it will happen and be done
Yep.
in that way as well. Anything else? Hearing nothing. All those in favor of ordinance 20-21-26, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, and thank you, everybody who's worked on this staff. I can't thank staff enough. Noah started, and Noah got thrown into one of the biggest PUDs and development agreement he might see for us in a long, long, long time. So Noah, thank you for coming up to speed so fast. I know you had a good teacher when you needed it, and you've been in Beaufort a long time, but you were a lot of help during this. Next item is first reading. We've got the first reading of ordinance 20-21-27, an ordinance to rezone approximately 3.24 acres of real estate located in Beaufort County, described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, map 9, parcel 36, and 204, Beaufort County, South Carolina, to be rezoned T4 Urban Center to T4 Neighborhood Open. Noah?
Mr. Mayor. These two parcels, currently zoned T4 Urban Center, sit just at the split of Ladies Island Drive and Waddell, the two parcels behind the Hardys. They are adjacent to T4 Neighborhood Center and T4 Neighborhood Center Open, both in the rear and across Ladies Island Drive. The applicant feels that there are more allowable uses in T4 Neighborhood Center than they would have access to in T4 Urban Center. The main use that is different allowable in T4 Neighborhood Center Open that is not in T4 UC is personal storage facility. That seems to be the intent of the applicant to pursue. And as well, they state that they have had multiple attempts to develop the property or market the property in the higher zoning and feel that this allowable use will give them a better chance to market the property. There are the future land use designation for these parcels is Controlled Growth Sector 2. That is totally in keeping with this area, would be if it were urban center or T4 neighborhood center open. So I know it's a concern to several people along this process, the height of buildings that are allowable here. So 3 stories would be the max on this property, or on these parcels rather. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. If you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions from anyone?
It did receive a recommendation from the Metro Planning Commission.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
It received a recommendation for approval? Did I do that right?
Yes, I don't have the numbers here.
You said ultimately, it was their intentions to make, it's a storage unit?
That was implied when they applied, so.
Very good.
And 3 stories is only to 35 at the peak, is that correct?
Correct.
Good. Council, good. Is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to?
I was told that City Manager might be here for the applicant. I don't see him. No. Oh, somebody, okay.
Hey, Ryan Lyle, Andrews Engineering. Yeah, Noah set it up well for us. This is a project we've worked on since 2006. 05 was when we first surveyed it and developed it for Mr. Aquin. It's been on the market continually since then under the current zoning restrictions, and there's been opportunities and interests over the years, and so now we're requesting to downzone it from T4 Urban Center to T4 Neighborhood Center Open. It does allow for personal storage facilities, also different requirements and conditions for other service uses. It didn't seem, seems more appropriate where it is for it to match what's across the street, which is more neighborhood center open than urban. So we'd like for the council to permit our zoning change.
Any questions for the applicant?
No questions.
Is that yes or no? Kevin, sorry?
Well, I mean, I guess the only question would be is, I guess you don't have any designs for, at this point, what it would look like, what would be there?
No, sir, there's.
Okay.
We can still develop some of the same uses that are allowed in urban. Personal storage facility is the only different one, but it could still be developed as what's allowed in urban.
I can speak to that real quickly as well.
Sure.
Just in general, when considering these rezonings, just keep in mind that if the applicant does give an intent to pursue a certain use, that doesn't mean that they could do whatever they want still within the permitted or conditional uses of the zoning district. So just look at it holistically as much as you can, because it's difficult to get them ahead of where they actually are in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open it up to any public comment. I didn't receive any. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back up to the dais. What's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-27.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion?
I think this will come for second reading, of course, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so vote on it tonight and just to do some more research. The reason why I asked the question is my concern is Port Royal turning into just the apartment complex and storage unit town of north of the Broad. So just want to keep that in mind. So I'll vote for it tonight, but it's going to come back up next month, and just so we can do some more research and hear from the constituents as well too. So, but just that's why I was asking those questions, just so y'all know where I was going.
I think that's, Kevin, that's an appropriate conversation, and Jerry and I have had some conversations about apartments in the past, and this one's already zoned in that way. One of the things that I think that I've thought about when I looked at this is that if it ends up to be personal storage, which we don't know that it will, one of the uses, but if it ends up to be personal storage, the new personal storage that are being built under our zoning and our requirements and our building codes are completely different than some of the ones that we have here.
They do look much different.
Right, and I'm hoping someday that those will allow some of the others to realize that their property may be more valuable, to redevelop that into something else and not have it as the older style personal storage units. So that's, but we gotta watch very carefully that tipping point. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, if you drive down Rebo Road and Newport World is pretty much just apartment complex storage unit, complex storage unit, so.
We'll hope that some of this properties become more valuable, it'll become something else later on. You're absolutely right on that way, so. I think it's a good conversation to have, and everybody's got to be comfortable.
Yeah, I echo the sentiments of Councilman Phillips.
Yep. Any other comment? Hearing none. All those in favor on first reading of ordinance 20-21-27, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? One. Next, we have a resolution. Van, you want to cover the resolutions?
Yeah, Resolution 6-2021, resolution providing that when the local option sales tax is approved in Beaufort County and the town of Port Royal in 2021, from that day forward, the revenue generated under the property tax credit fund shall be used as credits against property tax in accordance with state law, section 4-10-40, and revenue generated under the county municipal revenue fund will be used in accordance with state law, section 4-10-50, for capital improvements as approved by the town council during the regular annual budget adoption process. What y'all would be doing is basically formalizing how you would spend the dollars should the local option sales tax pass. Basically dedicating those funds to infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, the public utilities. Obviously, 71% of whatever is collected has to be, according to state legislation, designated for property tax relief. The 29% is, at this stage, would be up to the discretion of the council. And like I said, y'all are just formalizing how you would spend those dollars.
Good. Council, questions for Van before I ask for a motion?
No, sir.
Hearing none. What's the pleasure of council?
Move that we approve Resolution 6-2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Next resolution, Van?
Sure. Resolution 7-2021, a resolution committing the town of Port Royal to providing a program fee for the Municipal Association of South Carolina Retail Recruitment Training Program in partnership with the retail coach if the town is accepted into the program and supporting the town's application thereto. If council adopts this resolution, this is part of the package that we would submit, which I think is due tomorrow, is our formal request to be considered for this grant. This would enable us to participate in some retail recruitment, maybe to address those apartment complexes and storage facilities that are located on our major commercial corridor right now. So this is just a piece of that grant submittal.
Thank you. Council, any questions for Ben? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of council?
Move that we approve Resolution 7-2021.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Next item of business is we got some council actions. The first is an appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. We have one seat that we're filling tonight, and Barbara Berry was before us last week, and she spoke for us, and we interviewed her. Barbara, I didn't think I saw Barbara tonight. She's not here in the room. Nope. What's the pleasure of council?
Move that we approve the applicant as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. The next item of business is the RFP for town landscaping.
Mayor DeVito, if you'll allow me, I'd like to recuse myself from the conversation. I'll excuse myself from the building.
Thank you, Jerry. We'll reach out to you as soon as we're done.
Sure.
Van, you want to give us a brief on this?
Yeah, real quickly, you received two responses to the RP, one from Southern Palmetto, the other from Greenery. The first, included in the RP, was a very descriptive scope of work, broken down by area around town. Based upon that scope of work, the bid we received from Southern Palmetto was $182,250. Greenery bid was $213,733. I asked Josh Diller to do an analysis of the submittals. He gave you a breakdown based upon the number of hours that both would provide. Southern Palmetto, 4,339. Greenery, 4,749. So there's about an addition. There's 400 plus additional hours that the Greenery would dedicate to the contract. So if you kind of apples to apples, the separation between the two is about $13,1725 if you did a comparison hours to hours. He addressed some of the experience issues for both Southern Palmetto and the Greenery, which you will see there. So basically, you've got two contract proposals, one the amount of $182,250 and the other amount of $213,733.
Thank you. Council, have any questions for Van?
No questions.
And it is a one-year contract with a renewal, correct?
Correct.
It's a 1 year with an option to renew to a second. Makes it a little bit easier on our staff.
And now aligns with our fiscal year.
Yes, it will
Pretty
now
close.
align with our fiscal year.
That's what we were trying.
Any other questions?
No questions.
I'd like to get it to I do have one item before we ask for a motion. There's this item 24, Van. Can you take a look at that?
Yeah, that is the lot adjacent to the Casablanca Park.
Mhm.
In the past, we have, for safety reasons, underbrushed it, and then there was about $355, I think, in one of the submittals. We did that for the neighborhood, but it's not something that we normally would have done, so we can delete that from the
Yeah, it's a private property lot. I think if it requires and needs to be done for some reason for safety, I think it'd be better that that be brought to council on its own and
Right.
council votes on spending money on private property in that way and not being part of a contract. So if anybody does decide to make a motion, whichever you decide to make a motion on, I think we should set part of that motion should be removing item 24, Casablanca lot. So I think that's the only one. So what's the pleasure, council?
I'm going to recommend that we accept the offer coming from Southern. I've received several calls of the services that they've provided, and the community seems to have been pleased. And also, some, depending on who you talk to, some of them which says that the services that they're now receiving has gone above and beyond what they've received in the past, not to diminish the work of anyone else. But then again, also, I think also, we're getting the service, we're getting a comprehensive package, and also being a good steward over that which was entrusted to us. The $13,000 may not be a lot to some people, but then again, to me, I think I can tell you what I can do with $13,000. And we're still receiving a reputable and good service. And so that's my recommendation.
And you want to move lot 24?
And also, I would like to include removal of lot 24 for the town to evaluate and also determine as to how it wishes to address that in the future.
I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No, we just appreciate what they're doing
Yep.
and helping the town, especially with this.
And I'll say they.
You can't thank them enough for their storm response.
They've really shown up during the
Thanks for that storm
yeah.
response. It was amazing. And I did also receive calls, and I'm glad you mentioned that for the,
And Bud here, it's here with the applicant.
Yeah.
let's vote, and then Bud will give you an opportunity. So we'll go ahead and Call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Bud, you're here. You'd like to address us in any way? It looks like you're...
Sure, real quick. I don't know everybody. Daryl, I haven't met you, and Kevin, I haven't met you. I know the rest, including Jerry. Nice to meet y'all. We do a lot of things. Just be aware that it's much more than just maintenance. We do a lot of different things for a lot of different communities, from Savannah to Hilton Head to Bluffton to Beaufort. A lot of times these kind of contracts can come and go, and they come back and they leave, just depending on low bid and that sort of thing. But this past 6 months, I believe it was this 6 months where we designed and installed the church there in the skateboard park. It's very interesting being here because I see a lot of stuff that's coming up that's going to be involving tree planting. It's going to be involving installation, hardscape, that sort of thing. So there's just so many things that we do besides just maintain. So if you need more things, more services, we're here. And more money.
Not for more money.
And we appreciate you working with us as we tried to align this with our budget and rebid this and everything, but it makes it easier for everybody now and for council to allot money and to adopt a budget knowing when this is going to come and fall, and that was part of the reason why. So we thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Van, covers what you need?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So the next is approval for the JCs, the Food Festival. I see they're here again, and they did a presentation, but you come forward as we deliberate if you'd like. Anybody have any questions for them? Anything they thought about since last week, council? Jerry, please get Jerry back in the room. I'm sorry, hold on. Thank you, I just realized he wasn't sitting there. Oh, I see who had Jerry's ear. Oh, now we know what took so long.
We should have known.
We're talking about
Jerry,
drop stacks.
just so that you know, because you'll read it in the minutes anyway, Southern Palmetto was awarded by the rest of council.
Excellent. And they'll do a good job. They've done a real good job.
Appreciate-
Congratulations, bud. I know y'all do a good job.
Appreciate your diligence in the way you deal with this issue every couple of years when it comes up.
Absolutely.
So, we've got the approval for the JC's Food Truck Festival. They're here again, in case anybody thought of anything since last week, wants them to ask them anything. If not, what's the pleasure of council?
A date has been established, correct?
Yes, sir. October 9th.
October 9th, okay. And that's closure of the street from what time again?
9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Is that all right down, everything?
What streets?
Paris Avenue,
The whole Paris Avenue?
From what
or
point?
From the school back?
10th through 6th.
10 through 6, okay.
The favorite car, all right?
Mhm.
Pleasure of council.
Move that we grant them approval to host the JC's Food Truck Festival, not because I'm biased, about food trucks.
I'll second that one.
We have a motion and a second to get food trucks in our community for a day, so that's a good thing. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We look forward to working with you on this. What you guys do is great. Hopefully this raises the money you need to keep your efforts going in the Low Country and keep this chapter alive this time.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got important dates, Van.
Tuesday, July 20th at 4:30 p.m. is the Redevelopment Commission. And then Saturday, July 24th at 6 p.m., we start the Fall Street Music Series with Nathan Williams and the Zydeco Cha-Chas.
And on the First Street Music, we all have commitments that weekend, different things. We've got the Municipal Association going on. We've got the Water Festival going on. I have a wedding in New York going on. So council, who feels they can be at this to kick this thing back off jointly? We need to know. We need some council members there that night and kick this thing off, because I will not be able to, and I am disappointed, but.
Hey, I got a great band, so I'll bring my shoes.
Excellent band.
Yeah, I got to go to this wedding after it's been canceled twice with COVID, and my niece is getting married, and I'm going to go see the wedding, so.
Well, you ought to watch it on Zoom.
Well, that's what I'll do. We'll do it that way, and we'll get it on. But we look forward to it, and we've got a bunch of dates coming up. If we want to just, real quickly, it's the July 24th, August 7th, August 21st, September 4th, September 18th. That's the lineup. That's what's happening, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody out there.
You mentioned municipal association. Can you kind of explain that a little bit for those that aren't aware of that?
So this
I'll
is
help out.
about the municipal association?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the municipal association of South Carolina is it's a resource tool, really, for all the municipalities for information and direct communication to state legislators. They host lots of training. We've all been through a lot of the training classes, from basic through advanced, through all different aspects, and we get to keep taking these trainings as the years go on. They produce a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter, really highlight things that may have happened in the State House that may slip by us, so that we can be aware of those things. They do training for us, our annual retreat. They have a traveling gentleman who goes between municipalities to help them. Charlie Barano, he comes down. He is the one that facilitates our annual retreat. He keeps us in line, makes sure he trains us on how to operate this stuff. Then going forward, they have some grants, which is what we did earlier with some resolutions. There's some grants that are available to municipalities that we can apply for. And if we just have a question, if I have a question about something, it's a direct contact. It's kind of like call a friend. Charlie Barano is our friend, and he's part of the municipal association. He's a former town manager up in the Greenwood area. So he certainly knows what happens here. And we talk about a lot of different things, and they offer some great training. And a legislative day, which has been very, very good for us. We've all participated on it, get all the legislators in a room up in Columbia, and we get an opportunity to talk with them. We get to visit the State House. They get to take us through what happens. It's a great organization. I found it to be very beneficial my time here.
And we're fortunate to host it in Beaufort County this year.
Yep. Yep. It'll be, so this year's,
Hilton Head.
it's the annual meeting, or is
It's
it?
the annual.
It's the annual meeting. Will be on Hilton Head.
And I'll just mention, many of council, us on council, are graduates of the Municipal Association of South Carolina, and even the advanced learning. And it helps us do our job. It helps us understand what our job is. It helps us understand a lot of things. It's been very, very valuable information that we've received in that. And it's a good opportunity to learn and to network with other communities throughout the state. And learn how special we are here in Port Royal.
Yeah, exactly. And as Jerry said, also the networking part, particularly because we can pick up the phone and contact any of our neighboring or anyone from across the state, and and see how they handle a certain situation. And of course, the courses on municipal governance and so forth. And I'm proud to say I am an advanced graduate of that.
I am too.
But again, it's a great opportunity of valuable resources and networking opportunities.
See how people are dealing with river buffers and
Everything.
short-term rentals throughout the state of South Carolina.
Throughout the state, and we get to talk to them. And they were very, very helpful and instrumental on dealing with business licenses.
Yep.
They brought the whole state together and were able to get it so business licenses will be dealt with the same throughout different municipalities. They created a great database for this and for everybody to use, and they were very helpful in that aspect.
So the meeting's next week, Wednesday through Saturday?
Yeah, Thursday through
Saturday.
For some of you are attending.
Yeah.
I will not, again, same reason why, I'm going to a wedding, so I can't attend, but I appreciate that. There is a secondary group within the municipal association. There's a council of mayors, which I participate in, to get the mayors together. We haven't been able to have a meeting because of COVID, but now they're scheduling the first meeting. Normally we meet twice a year, but COVID prevented that, and now they're getting ready to start that. So it gets all the mayors together as well, so that's another piece that happens. Jerry, thanks for asking us to summarize that. It's the kind of things we don't always let everybody know what's going on. So the next is council comments. I'll lead off with the day of the storm. we had, was it the day of, Van, or the day before? We had our annual hurricane kind of meeting, Van and I, with Beaufort County EMS. We were up in the EMS building, kind of updating us on any changes, what's happened, what aspects of the way they're going to handle named storms and events that come through our area. It's great. It's a great network. Again, it really helps us understand how the policy committee works, which I would be a part of as one of the mayors, and move that through the emergency management. If Stephen Murray was in there, he found out all of a sudden he had to take a bunch of FEMA classes he didn't know he had to take to be able to sit in that room as a policy manual. I do not. I passed them back in early 2000s and was NEMA certified, so I'm good.
Congratulations.
I'm allowed to enter that room once again. I had been in it many times in the past, so I'm okay with that in that aspect. So it was one thing I'd have to do, so I had fun with Stephen about doing them. He got them all done on the day of the storm, from what I understand. He sat and did them all. So he's ready to go, so if he has to do that. But it's a great way to communicate. We learned some things. We learned some things the night of the storm that we thought we knew that we didn't know. But it's a great way to do that. So that's the comment I have. I've already talked about the storm and the response and what this council has done. Council members that we saw out there that morning, Mary Beth, you were one of the early risers out there, and looking around and seeing what's going on and getting the information passed out. I think it's wonderful, and that's what I've got to say. Any other council members have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I took a tour yesterday actually also, and it's an unfortunate way, Port Royal made national news. It's unfortunate how we made it, but still, again, all eyes across the country was on Port Royal, and we're just blessed that we didn't sustain any fatalities or injuries throughout this ordeal. From some of the destruction and devastation that I saw yesterday, certainly our hearts and prayers go out to those property owners that are having to deal with this present situation. But we're very blessed, and could have been worse.
Anybody else? Then I will open it up to Kevin. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Praise Academy. I don't know if you've checked out the skate park recently, but it looks amazing. Like, it looks brand new. They did a great job out there, and all the volunteers that came out over the weekend. I don't know if we have any skaters in the house looking out over the crowd, but but check. But it does. They did a great job. If you check it out, it's like I said, it looks brand new over there. So
maybe we can do something with an actual recognition.
I think we need to formally recognize.
Let's formally recognize them at next month's meeting.
It looks awesome.
Let's find out who organized it. Ask them if they would join us.
Yep.
And the kids were back on it as quickly as they
And
were.
the kids were knocking on the door saying, "When are you opening up the park?" So
And for the summer, that's great for our kids to have something to do.
that's it. Very good. All right, we'll open it up to public comment. I had one. Judy Ailings.
Not necessary. You made the decision. So my comment is meaningless.
Sorry. Anybody else have any public comment? Always recognize Councilman Howard.
Interest.
Yeah. We're glad to have you.
Really say something. I'm just want to express thankful there were no injuries during the storm. We live in Mossy Oaks, and we didn't, as you know, it was awful. I'm so sorry for all the damages to people's houses and other businesses. Two good things. Judy is already knows about this. The county is going to spend money at Southside Park and Shell Point tennis courts to make them so pickleball can be played there. So they used some money, discretionary money that was left in last year's budget. So stay tuned for that. And with Van and NOAA's cooperation, we want to form a task force for stormwater, Shell Point, Port Royal, and we'll start meeting soon. The final study's been done. As everyone knows, stormwater knows no boundaries. So it goes from incorporated to unincorporated, unincorporated to incorporated areas. So we're going to be working on that, and I think we've got some good ideas on where we need to go with that. It only takes money, right? So, all right, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and attending our meetings and for everything you do for our community.
Yeah, Trish.
Trish?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Tricia Fidrich. I am on the school board. I represent this area. I just want everyone to know that summer school is in session. We had our workers out taking care of the tree damage from Tornado Elsa that affected parts of the school. But it's looking good so far. Like you said before, everybody has rallied to help out. The district right now is working very, very hard so that we can open up in person, back to normal, starting with the school year. So stay tuned, and you'll hear more about that. And I thank you, Council, for all that you do. Thank you.
I'm sure nobody in here had to go to summer school.
It's public comment, Wade. You're public at this point, you know? Come forward.
Certainly want to take the opportunity to thank council and staff, Noah, Van, everybody has worked so hard to try to get this stuff done in such a unbelievably short period of time, and it is greatly appreciated. I also want to say to everybody in here present and elsewhere, I'm always available to talk about whatever's going on, any concerns. I think y'all all know how important it is to me, how interested other people are in the project and what they have to say about it, and I can try to take everything into account and accommodate what we can accommodate. Mainly we just pull great ideas out of that, and I appreciate it. But again, thank you to council. Anybody else, I've got my cards in my pocket if anybody wants my contact information. Tedder, by the way, did a heck of a lot of work, obviously, as did Lawrence. I don't know if he's still on the phone, but man, everybody worked really hard, and I really appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion to adjourn? The agenda's complete, no second required.